Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Steve, and today we're taking a look at two different, yet similar, Omega Seamasters, the ceramic version and the new dateless aluminum version. The ceramic version of the Seamaster is my personal watch, and that's what I have on my wrist today. The aluminum version came from my friends over at Martin Binder. They are authorized dealers for Omega, Tudor, Hamilton, Tissot, and many others. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. It really does help the channel. Now I'm going to be comparing these watches as they came brand new in the box. For the ceramic model, I'm going to be talking about the original bracelet. For the aluminum model, I'm going to be talking about the mesh bracelet. You can get the mesh bracelet for the ceramic. You can get them on rubber straps, but just for the sake of argument, I'm going to be comparing them on their original bracelets. So first, let's get the easy stuff out of the way, and that's going to be the overall case dimensions. Basically, the case shape is exactly the same, maybe a fraction of a millimeter here or there difference, but overall, it's the same exact case shape, so don't even worry about that. Same helium escape valve placement, same 3 o'clock crown with the crown guards, lyre lugs, all the same, so it's not even a talking point. Next up, it's going to be the movement. And once again, the same exact movement. The only difference is that one has a date window and the other doesn't have a date window. We'll get into that a little bit later in the dial layout portion, but the movement on the inside, it's good, it's reliable. I love the movement itself. It's highly accurate, highly magnetic resistant. You guys have heard everything about the movement anyways, so for the sake of argument, let's just call that one a wash as well. And the skeleton handsets are the same as well. The only difference is that on the ceramic model, the seconds hand does have a touch of red at the end of the seconds hand. Now the skeleton handset is a little bit divisive. A lot of people want Omega to go back to their sword style hands, which is basically a filled in version of the skeleton hands. But both watches have the same thing, so once again, we can't even compare them because they are basically the same. So now that we have the similarities out of the way, let's talk about the differences, because the difference between these two watches and how they feel and how they wear are almost night and day, really. The ceramic model has a zirconium dioxide dial with deep and sharp laser engraved waves. It's highly reflective and can change in the light drastically depending on your lighting situation. Sometimes this watch has a very deep black color and you can't even see the waves, and in other lights it catches that deep laser engraved wave. You can see that pattern very vividly depending on your lighting situation. Sometimes you can't see it at all, sometimes you can see it maybe too much. And not to mention, at the 6 o'clock position, we do have a color matched date wheel. Now, when it comes to the no date model, that one does come with an aluminum dial and a different laser engraved wave pattern. Those waves are much tighter, much thinner, and they blend into the background even more. While they are raised, that black does stay black in most lights. Only in outdoor situations or very good indoor lighting will you see those wave patterns. So the waves are much more subtle here, and they don't really jump out at you every time you rotate your wrist. There are no touches of red. It is just white ink on black dial. And this dial is a bit more symmetrical since it doesn't have that date window at the 6 o'clock. So if you're looking for simplicity and time only, then I would say lean towards the aluminum version. Moving up off of the dial, we're going to be talking about the crystals. Now on the ceramic version, it does come with a slightly domed piece of sapphire with anti-reflective coating on the top and on the bottom, which gives it a more modern, clean look with no distortions. And while there is a fear of scratching the top side coating on the crystal, over the last 3 years, I haven't seen a single scuff on mine, so I wouldn't worry about it all that much. On the aluminum version, we have a boxed sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating only on the underside. This gives the watch a little bit more of a vintage feel with that nice distortion around the edge. It almost looks like a Hesalite crystal, but made out of sapphire. And with there being no AR coating on the top of the crystal, you don't have to worry about scratching it on this model. Now moving on over to the bezels, this is where it's kind of the same, but also different at the same time. The bezel itself is the same on both watches. 120 click, scalloped edges. And while these bezels aren't the easiest to operate, I think they look great. I love the scalloped edges on both of these. Now the differences here is that the ceramic model obviously has a ceramic bezel insert with white enamel lettering, with only a luminous pip at the 60-minute marker. The no date model has an aluminum bezel insert, and all of those markings on that bezel are loomed. So since they did that, it does make it feel more like a tool watch, something that you can actually use to go diving. So now it's time to talk about the most controversial part of the Omega Seamaster, and that's going to be the bracelet. So on the ceramic model, it does come with that tank tread bracelet. that has no taper. It's 20 millimeters from the lugs down to the clasp. We have a large double button clasp here with a diver's extension and a micro adjustment system. Now it does feel good on the wrist. It feels very smooth to the touch. I like the way it conforms to my wrist, but it is big and chunky, and it's really weird because this is supposed to be a luxury watch, but this doesn't feel like a luxury bracelet. It almost feels like a tool bracelet, something that should be on the aluminum version, but it's on the ceramic version. If this bracelet was a little bit more tapered, it would feel slightly more luxurious, but here it just feels like a tool watch through and through. When it comes to the mesh bracelet, that one does taper from 20 millimeters down to 18 millimeters at the clasp. I love the way that looks and feels on the wrist. You do have these holes where you can place the clasp, so you can think of that as a micro adjustment system. The double push button deployant clasp looks beautiful, it operates nice, but since the extra part of the mesh strap tucks underneath the clasp, it does add a little bit of thickness while it's on your wrist. Now for me personally, I don't mind that thickness. I do have a larger wrist. It's about 7.5 inches. So the clasp doesn't feel too chunky at all. And I'm not having a lot of material underneath. It's not really hanging off. If you had something smaller, maybe like a 6.5 inch wrist, you're gonna have a little bit more of that mesh underneath the clasp. So I can see how it's not going to conform to your wrist all that well. But personally, I like the way the mesh strap looks. That's why I bought it for my ceramic model. I think it adds a little bit more luxury and it gives it a completely different look while it's on your wrist. And the last difference is going to be the price. Now, the thing that doesn't make sense in my head is that the aluminum no date version is actually about $600 more expensive than the ceramic date version, which doesn't make any sense at all. Technically, ceramic is a little bit more of an advanced material, and a date just adds another complication to the movement itself. So theoretically, it should cost more, but it's the opposite. So I'm not sure what they're doing there. The only thing I can think of is that they're going to be retiring the ceramic model and making everything into the aluminum model moving forward, but maybe not. I just don't see why it's priced that way. I also don't see why the Seamaster is priced lower than the Aquaterra. It doesn't really make sense to me why Omega is doing that. So if you're out there and you're listening, just let me know in the comments, why do you have the pricing the way it is? Now, at the end of the day, the way I see these watches is, how do you want the watch to age? Do you want to go down the ceramic zirconium dioxide route, or do you want to go down the aluminum route? When it comes to the ceramic model, it's basically not going to age. The bezel is not going to fade. The dial is not going to fade. It's going to look great in 50 years, just like it does now. It is going to be slightly more fragile since ceramic is a little bit more of a brittle material, but the bezel insert and dial shouldn't fade. They shouldn't scratch. You shouldn't have any sort of watermarks on them, nothing like that. But the aluminum is going to age. The bezel is going to fade. It's going to get scratched up. It's going to have that vintage look. And with that boxed sapphire crystal, it's going to look the part as well decades into the future. And that's what I think the biggest decision comes down to. For me personally, I'm going to have this Seamaster in my collection forever. I've already decided that. My father had a Seamaster. I have a Seamaster. This watch is not going to leave my collection at all. So when I think about my watch years down the line, I want it to look as new as possible. And I did say that in my original review. And not only that, I think the ceramic gives the watch a more luxurious feel versus the aluminum, which gives it a more tool feel, especially when you're looking at the lume. I don't know why, but a fully lume bezel to me does not scream luxury. It just screams like a tool watch. If that's what you like, great. I'm all for it. I don't think I'm ever going to go diving like at all. So to have a fully lume bezel does not appeal to me whatsoever. I really don't care about using the bezel at night to time something. It just doesn't bother me. I've never run into an instance where that matters. So just having that single pip is fine enough for me. I don't need that whole bezel loomed. And on top of that, I do like to know what the date is during the week. So having that date function is a necessity for me. So that's why I would go ahead and choose the ceramic version over the aluminum version. And here's where I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comment section down below which Seamaster you prefer, the aluminum or the ceramic. I know for me, I like the aesthetic of the ceramic, but for you guys, you might want a more tool-focused Seamaster, so the aluminum might be the way to go. Let me know in the comment section down below. And once again, thank you to my friends over at Martin Bender for letting me borrow the aluminum Seamaster. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to their website in the description box. And if you're still here, go ahead and check out my 3-year look back at the Seamaster. Or is it 2-year? 2 or 3-year look back at the Seamaster. I love it. It's such a great watch. Just go ahead and watch that video right there. And don't forget to check out my other reviews. But this one, go ahead and click it. Now. Go. Now. Go.